small plastic specimen container he had brought for collecting samples.
No way.
He made a desperate decision and urinated into the tiny container. Then he raised it to his lips and drank it.
So you're telling me you pissed in a container and you drunk your own piss? Yeah, I ain't gonna call you Uber. Call you Uber. Yeah. Call you Uber. Call you Uber. The worst things caves explorers did to stay alive.
Mexican fissure cave, wedged caver rescue.
What
On a
the
warm
hell?
morning in 1991, a young caver named Leonardo Perez set out to explore an unmapped cave in the mountains of Mexico.
I don't understand why people do this. Like, why do you want to go ahead and explore a cave? Like, why? Why? And let me guess. I bet he's white.
His friends called him Leo, and he was known for pushing into tight spaces that most people would never dare to enter.
You damn right. I would. I don't care how much you offer me. I will not go in there, bro. You can offer me 100 mil, $1 billion. I'm not going in there.
On this day, he went alone, a decision that would nearly cost him his life. The cave was not a wide-open cavern, but a narrow fissure, a long crack in the mountain rock. Leo squeezed deeper and deeper into the fissure, moving downward through passages that kept getting tighter. Then, without warning, his body slipped into a V-shaped crevice and he dropped straight down. The walls of the crevice pinched together at the bottom like a giant stone jaw. Leo's body became wedged so tightly between the rock walls that he could barely breathe.
Bro. What are you going there for? Like, what do you get out of it? You're not getting no money. You're not getting no food. You're not getting a brand new car. Like, why is you going in? Like, me personally, you'll never catch me going in there, bro. That's just me.
He could not move his legs at all, and only his arms had a tiny bit of freedom. He was stuck in a near vertical position with his head slightly above his feet. There was no light, no sound, and no one knew where he was.
Oh my gosh. Just imagine this. No light, no sound, no one nearby. You're cooked. GG's. Back to the gulag.
Leo tried to push himself upward, but the rock held him like a vice. Every time he exhaled, his chest got slightly smaller and the walls seemed to press in even tighter. He quickly realized that struggling would only waste his energy and make things worse. So he forced himself to stay calm and think clearly about how to survive. The section of cave where he was trapped was completely dry. There was no dripping water anywhere. Without water, Leo knew he would be dead within a few days. Then he remembered something in his pocket.
What?
A small plastic specimen container he had brought for collecting samples.
No way.
He made a desperate decision and urinated into the tiny container. Then he raised it to his lips and drank it.
So you're telling me you pissed in a container and you drunk your own piss? Yeah, I ain't gonna call you Uber. Call you Uber. Yeah. Call you Uber. Call you Uber.
Only source of fluid he had, and he used it again and again over the following days. One day passed, then two, then three, and still no one came.
Wait, so that can actually happen? Wait, so you can drink your own piss and you actually could survive? Like, you actually be hydrated if you drink your own piss? Like, that's actually wait, what?
Leo drifted in and out of sleep, his body growing weaker with every passing hour. His muscles began to cramp painfully from being locked in the same position for so long. But he refused to give up. He kept his mind focused on staying alive. On the fourth day, Leo gathered every bit of strength he had left and began to whistle. He whistled over and over, hoping the sound might travel up through the cracks in the rock.
Yeah.
By an incredible stroke of luck, a group of local villagers walking nearby heard faint whistling coming from the ground. They followed the sound and realized someone was trapped deep.
Yo, why they look like that, bro? Yo.
Inside the fissure. The villagers called for help, and a rescue team arrived as fast as they could. But pulling Leo out was not going to be easy. The rock held him like a trap. Rescuers spent the next 15 hours carefully chipping away at the stone around his body. One wrong move could have caused a collapse or crushed him even further. Finally, after 115 hours trapped in total darkness, Leonardo Perez was pulled free from the mountain. He was rushed to the nearest hospital, severely dehydrated and barely conscious, but alive.
So you're telling me you were stuck in a position for 4 or 5 days, right? Or 6 maybe. Damn near a week if you think about it. You had no water. I mean, you obviously had something to drink because you was drinking your own piss. And you were stuck.
Dry survival. On a scorching afternoon in 1953, an amateur caver set out to explore an unmarked cave on the Nullarbor Plain in southern Australia. The Nullarbor was one of the driest and most unforgiving landscapes on Earth, stretching hundreds of miles with almost no water.
Yo.
The caves hidden beneath the plain were known for their extreme heat. bone-dry air and thick layers of choking dust. The man had only basic supplies like a flashlight, a small canteen of water, and a specimen bag slung over his shoulder. He lowered...
If you're going out to caving or do anything, why you guys don't bring like extra water? Like bring like 2, 3, 4 more extra water. Why going cave hunting, whatever you're doing, and not having water with you, bro? Or not even having like some type of food, like you know those little containers that be having them glizzies, like them hot dogs. Like bring that with you. I know it might be nasty, but hey, at least it's something.
Himself through a narrow entrance hole and began walking into the darkness below. The temperature inside the cave entrance was over 100 degrees. And the air was so dry it cracked his lips within minutes.
So you're telling me the air was so dry it cracks it? What?
He moved deeper, hoping to find cooler passages further underground. But as he squeezed through a tight crawlway, the loose rock beneath him shifted and collapsed.
Oh
the
my
passage
gosh.
behind him was now blocked with rubble, and he could not climb back the way he came. He was alone, with no one expecting him back for several days. He tried to clear the rocks, but every attempt brought more dust and debris crashing down.
Oh my gosh.
After hours of digging, he realized he was completely trapped.
Bro, imagine being in that position, bro. Like, just like think about it. Like, you're stuck in a cave for hours, days, minutes, seconds, hours, and nobody knows that you're stuck. And the fact that you left and you told them like, hey, I'm about to be gone for just a couple days. Like, buddy, you're cooked. You're cooked. But the fact that you somehow got saved, you're just lucky. I ain't gonna lie, you're just lucky.
His flashlight was already growing dim, and the heat was draining the water from his body at a terrifying rate. He rationed his small canteen carefully, but in the extreme heat, it was empty by the end of the first day.
Jesus.
Without water in this kind of heat, he knew he had less than 48 hours before his organs would shut down. The dust in the air was so thick that every breath felt like swallowing sand. By the second day, his mouth was completely dry and his muscles had started to cramp violently. Desperate to survive, he did what many trapped cavers before him had been forced to do. He urinated into his empty canteen and forced himself to drink.
Bro, what's up with people pissing in bottles and drinking? I would never do that. Why piss and drink your own piss? You're nasty. I don't care how stuck I am. I'm not drinking my own piss. You're crazy.
The taste was foul, but it put enough fluid back into his body to keep him from passing out. He repeated this cycle over the next 2 days, each time the liquid becoming darker and harder to swallow. His body temperature was dangerously high, and heat stroke was closing in on him like a slow-moving killer. He lay flat on the cave floor, pressing his skin against the rock to absorb whatever coolness it had. By the third day, his flashlight was dead,
Oh my
and he
gosh.
was left in total darkness with only the sound of his own breathing. He began tapping on the cave walls with a rock, hoping someone above might hear the sound.
You're in the dark. Like, think about it, right? Let me go black, for example. Did I scare you? Yeah, I know I did.
On the surface, a local farming family had noticed a vehicle parked near the cave entrance for days with no sign of its owner. They contacted authorities, and a small search party was sent to investigate. The searchers found the collapsed crawlway and began carefully removing the rubble by hand. After several exhausting hours of digging, they broke through to the other side. They found the caver lying flat on the ground, barely conscious, covered in dust, and clutching his empty canteen. He had been trapped for just over 72 hours in one of the hottest caves on the continent. Doctors who treated him said he was on the very edge of fatal heat stroke and kidney failure. They said his decision to stay hydrated by any means necessary was the only thing that kept him alive.
It's actually crazy. Drinking your own piss can actually save you. Like, that's so crazy to be like, how?
Sterkfontein Caves, 21-day survival tragedy. On a day in 1984,
21
an
days?
experienced caver named Peter Verholzel entered the Sterkfontein Cave.
Do you see this? Do you see this? And you expect me to go in there?
The Sterkfontein cave system was famous for its ancient fossils, but it was also one of the most dangerous caves in the country. Large sections of the cave were completely flooded with dark, silty water that could blind a diver in seconds. Peter made his way deep into the system, navigating through narrow tunnels and flooded passages. At some point during his exploration, he became completely lost. The cave was a maze of underwater channels that all looked the same, and Peter could not find his way back. He swam through passage after passage, but every turn led to more dark, murky water. His air supply was running low and panic was starting to set in. Then by pure chance, his head broke the surface of the water inside a small air pocket. It was a tiny dry ledge, like a small island, surrounded by the flooded cave system on every side. Peter pulled himself onto the ledge and lay there in complete darkness, gasping for breath. He was alive, but he was trapped in one of the worst places imaginable.
Okay, now imagine you're just chilling there, right? And then out of nowhere, you just see the water just rising up. Like, it's just like slowly just rising up. Like, you see it. Like, you're alive, but you just slowly seeing it rise up. What would you do?
There was no way to call for help, and no one could hear him this deep underground. He knew that swimming back into the flooded maze would almost certainly mean drowning in the silt-filled water. So he made the only choice he could. He stayed on the ledge and waited for rescue. The first few days were the hardest, as hunger and thirst began to tear at his body. There was no food on the ledge, and the floodwater around him was filled with dangerous silt and bacteria.
I ain't gonna lie, call me crazy, but I'm not drinking my piss. I'll probably drink that instead of my piss. I ain't gonna lie.
When his thirst became unbearable, Peter turned to the only source of fluid available to him. He began drinking his own urine to keep his body hydrated.
Yo, this is the third time seeing people drink their own urine. I gotta switch this up. Can you drink your own piss? No, you should not drink your own urinate in a survival situation. You crazy as hell. You crazy as hell if you think I'm drinking my own piss. I'm telling you, I'd rather drink that water than my own piss. I'm telling you.
It was a desperate act, but it kept him alive day after day in the endless darkness. 1 week passed, then 2 weeks, and still no rescue came. Peter's body was breaking down. His muscles wasted away, and his organs began to fail. He lost more than 40 pounds as his body consumed itself to stay alive.
Yo.
But somehow, his heart kept beating and his lungs kept breathing.
Wait, so low-key, you can low-key lose weight like that. Just don't eat for 21 days. Just don't eat for 21 days. You're gonna be good.
Above ground, search teams had been looking for Peter since the day he went missing. Divers entered the flooded cave system again and again, but the silty water made visibility almost zero. It took rescuers 21 agonizing days to finally locate the small air pocket where Peter had been surviving. When they reached him, they were shocked that he was still showing signs of recent life. But tragically, Peter Verhulsel did not survive long enough to be saved. His body had endured 3 full weeks of starvation, darkness, and isolation before finally giving out.
Damn, so if you think about it, human bodies are really strong. If you think about it, 3 weeks without no food or water.
Examiners who studied his body called his survival a biological miracle. They said his desperate choice to stay hydrated was the only reason he lasted as long as he did.
Alright, YouTube, that's the end of the video. Don't do stupid stuff, bro. Like, just don't do stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying? But if y'all boys new to the channel, make sure y'all boys like, comment, subscribe. You feel me? I'm gonna catch y'all boys in the next video. So, yeah.